Good evening, everybody. So thank you for coming into LiveLifeToTheFullest.tv to hear us. Especially we have our special guest speaker, Andrew Soong. He is an expert in this D.I.S.C, leadership and our aspect, where D.I.S.C can be used to improve relationship. And today it's really our privilege, in fact my privilege, all right, to have Andrew Soong here with me. Now I am Roland Ang. I'm today your host. So with this, we let us all welcome Andrew Soong. All right.
Thank you. Thanks, Roland. Thanks for having me this evening. It's a privilege to be here.
That's right. Oh, it's really our privilege too.
Yes.
All right. And we want to take this opportunity to hear him out, and then we'll see how much we have absorbed from him, how much we have learned from him, and then from there, right, we can have a Q&A session. So we also hope that through LiveLifeToTheFullest.tv is something that you can raise the awareness about your life. And in this case, if you are a parent and then you have some issues with your children and you have no idea why. Right? Why my son is this way? Why my daughter is that way? And maybe today Andrew will able to give us an insight what could be the reason. And for all you know, it's just a tweak of knowledge and a tweak of understanding your child in a different way. And that's all you need. And with that, right, you can transform your relationship with your child. So I think with that, let's again welcome Andrew Soong.
Thank you.
Or maybe I'll give you an opportunity to introduce yourself a bit.
Yeah, just something very simple. I'm actually I'm the executive director with the John Maxwell team here in Singapore, and also a certified speaker, trainer, and coach. And I specialize in this D.I.S.C personality profiling for corporate as well as for parenting. And we recently launched this parenting program for children between 8 to 12 to 14. And it's very useful in the sense that it can help parenting to a different level, whereby we minimize on these stress points in the family. It's very important because now a lot of people are working from home. And if they're at home 24/7, they're going to have a lot of stress at home.
Talking about this,
yes,
I haven't heard from principals that children are facing so much violence at home.
All right.
These violence are actually, between their parents, but somehow they have been affected.
Yes.
And they're so disillusioned. It's like, I've never seen my parents like that.
Yeah.
And somehow they also been implicated.
Correct.
That unfortunately, some children actually was even contemplating suicide. It was that bad. And I think this pandemic, this COVID-19 and the circuit breaker really opened cans of worms within the families.
Exactly.
It's just like during our normal days before the COVID-19.
Yes.
Even if I have an issue with you, I'll go and work. I'll just get on with my life.
Correct.
All right. And if I come back, maybe I come back home late. And then quickly I wash up, have my dinner, I go to bed. And then till the next day, I wake up, then I'll go to work. And that's sort of a way to minimize problems. But the COVID-19 and the circuit breaker really changed the whole family dynamic. And you're right, they have to face each other 24/7.
Correct.
I think that is where really their own personal issue just cannot be contained anymore.
Correct.
And it just exploded.
Exactly.
And from that affect the children, and I suppose even the children also suffer because of that.
Exactly. Psychologically, they'll be affected. Emotionally, they'll be affected. I've also heard cases where the parents lose it and abuse the child. Unfortunately. And everything happens because they are stressed. It's a totally different environment. The home is not catered to be an office. And now we're talking about, if you have two children and they're in schooling age, right? They have to do homeschool learning, right? And all of them are cramped on a single table, 4 persons on a PC, trying to do what they have to do previously when they were doing it from the office. And it's just different. It's just different. Like you're living with someone that you've not lived with for a long time. And you're right. The parent goes to work 8 hours or in the office, goes for dinner outside or whatever. But by the time that he comes back or she comes back, the child may be in bed. And the next morning she leaves for school early in the morning. The parents don't see the child.
That's right.
The maid takes care of everything. But now it's different. The child is at home. When the parent wakes up, the child is there. So all these are little things that add on to the stress.
That's right.
And then it manifested. It gets manifested.
So now this is the question. Are these situations avoidable? All right. And if they are avoidable, then actually what were the cause? And then if we understand the cause, then maybe all this can be addressed. And all this tension and conflict can be avoidable.
Yeah.
So today we're going to pose tough questions,
Okay.
all right, on Andrew, and let's see what he can share with us.
Yeah.
He can share with us. So again, I'm the host for LiveLifeToTheFullest.tv, Roland Ang here, and if you have just came into YouTube or Facebook, we welcome you. And if you are interested to have a Q&A session with Andrew, so do not forget to sign up with us right now, all right, so that we can give you a Zoom link for you to join us, and so that you can ask questions and then take the opportunity and hear what Andrew can share with you. Okay, so with that, let us see our first question.
All right.
All right. Okay. So what are the common relationship problems that parents face with their children? I mean, we mentioned about the COVID-19,
Yeah, sure.
but to me that is a trigger.
Yep.
Right, that's just a trigger. So what is really the common relationship problem that actually parents and children they face together?
The one biggest is communication. The one biggest problem is communication. And the parents and the child don't communicate on the same level. And this is not something that happened overnight. It has been over the years. And once you have communication or miscommunication between each person, problems start. In other words, I make certain assumptions of your behavior and vice versa. And because of that adds stress, and then the child becomes defiant to a point sometimes they just don't want to listen to the parents. They never enjoyed communicating with the parents because it's always top down. The parents is always either scolding them, nagging them, etc. And you and I, we don't like to have negativity to us all the time, right? We are working, if our bosses were like that, why would I want to work in this company? But the child doesn't have a choice because of the parent. And the parent is doing these things, and the child somehow psychologically reacts, okay? Especially sometimes the parents' concentration in Singapore is study. Sit here for an hour and study. But I'm going to help you understand later on that some children can sit for a whole hour, some children cannot. Why? Because they have different personality behaviors. And if you can identify how your child is wired behaviorally, you then be able to understand and maximize the way that they do things and the way you want them to do things by using certain phrases.
No, you use the word personality.
Yes.
I know that today the topic is really understanding your child personality,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And that will be part of this parenting wisdom.
Yes.
But again, what is personality?
Okay. Personality is developed in three parts. One is the genetic, how the child is born, the genetic makeup of the child. The other one is the influence from the parents, from the guardian, as the child is growing up. Okay, the child will absorb certain things, certain teachings, etc. And the other one will be the environment. The environment the child is in, the school, the friends, etc. Right? I give you a simple analogy. A child coming into the world is just like your mobile phone, out from the box. It has no application at all. You start adding applications to the phone and it becomes the way you want it to be. Same as the child. The child has no apps when it first came out. The parents start to introduce the application. If it's positive, the child grows up to be a positive person. But however, if you keep putting negativity on the child, similarly, the child will become a very negative person. And if you don't neutralize that when they are young, between the ages of 0 to 7 or 1 to 7, that sticks in their subconscious and they will carry that into adulthood. And which is why today a lot of our adults have issues like that, like low self-esteem, fear, anger, unable to be successful in anything they do. Because when they were young, the parents could have told them, you're useless, you're hopeless, why can't you study, why can't you be like a brother, can't you be like a cousin? And these things stick in the subconscious. And so the child believes it, that I am not good enough, and grows up with it.
So you're saying that this personality develop actually partly is due to nature?
Nature, yes, genetics.
And then of course nurture.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
And whichever is the case, nature or nurture,
yes,
how does it so-called, or how does their personality affects them? In what way? In what way it affects them?
Okay, so we are all different. You and I are different. Everybody is different. However, we are predictably different. So if we grow up genetically and we are nurtured, it forms a certain behavioral style, a certain communication style. However, if we can pinpoint and understand that particular child's behavioral style, we are then able to tailor our words in terms of communication to suit and speak to the child's personality language.
I see.
Right now what's happening is that the parents are speaking to the child using maybe one size fits all. So they have 2 or 3 children, right? The first one they bring up this way, and so happen that the child is maybe an obedient child, a makeup of the D.I.S.C type that is very compliant. So they said, wow, good. So the second one comes out, the third one comes out, and they use the same. But then, hey, what happened? My second child is very defiant. Although I use the same method. And the third one is again different. What's going on? I don't know what's going on, right? So here I am to help you understand why each child is different and you must handle the child in a different manner. Not one size fits all.
So you're saying that the personality somehow will affect the way they behave.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
The way they think.
Yes.
And the way they make decisions and do things.
Yes. And the way they communicate.
Yeah. The unfortunate thing is that the parents, through their own past experience from their own parents,
correct,
they thought that this is the method of parenting.
Exactly.
And they use only this particular method that they received it, and then they impart it to their children.
Correct.
The unfortunate thing is that even every children, though come from the same mother or same mother and father, they're actually all different.
They are different.
All right.
Yes,
and that's the unfortunate thing.
That's the reality.
Correct.
That's the reality.
Okay, good. And you did mention something about D.I.S.C.
Yes.
So I think this is something that later on we will go in depth a little. All right. So okay, good. So basically, these are some of the relationship problems.
Right.
Okay. So good. Let's go to the next one. Now, why having problem in parenting is bound to happen to every parent?
Like I just earlier explained, like you just said, they only know when they first become young parents what and how they were brought up by their parents. Some would have attended courses to say how to be a better parent, but ultimately they will still take on the persona of the father and the mother as they are bringing up their child, and that will come across to the children. The other thing would be, like I said, one size fits all. The one size fits all myth that if I did it with my first one, it worked, the second, third will be the same. That's where the error starts happening, right? And that's the reason why they start having these little problems. And it's all due on to communication. How do they communicate with the child things that they want the child to do?
Okay.
And when you know the D.I.S.C makeup of the child, you will use the different phrases based on the different D.I.S.C to encourage the child to do things. And you will find it so easy to do it. You don't even have to nag the child. That's the beauty of it,
Okay, so like I've sort of summarized beforehand, right?
Yep, you did.
Before that generally it's really using the methodology that is really not suitable for that particular child.
That's right.
Because every child really have a different makeup.
Correct.
And there's no way that method, even if you pick this up from a parenting workshop, and no matter how effective it is,
correct,
right, sometimes it can backfire.
Exactly.
Right? It can backfire.
Yes.
It just won't work.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
You may even get the steps right. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. In fact, that particular set of steps is exactly what it will not work with the child.
Some childs it will, some
That's
childs
right.
it won't. Yes. We're not saying it will not work at all.
Yes. Okay, it might work 25%. Because that particular method will likely work with one group of
one group.
Yes, right. Correct.
Yep.
So I think this is something that we need to be aware of. In terms of like, so in other words, it will not just only happen to you. Sometimes as a parent, you may say, why this only happened to me? Why my friend? Why that friend? This friend? Well, their child all seems to be, very well behaved, but just not my child. Actually, it's not true. I think it happens to every parent. Every parent. Right. Okay. Very good. So let's see what we have next. Now, so why parents have difficulty communicating with their child?
Okay, the Asian style of communications is a lot of to do with top-down. And in leadership, there are basically 5 levels of leadership, but in parenting, there's usually 4. The first level, which is the lowest of all levels, is what we call positional leadership. In other words, because you are the father, you're the mother, you use your rank, and you tell the children or the child what to do. It's just like in the army, right? My way or no way. And they tend to use that in Asia. And the favorite sporting brand in all Asians' parents is Nike. Because the slogan is?
Just do it.
Exactly. Just do it. And the favorite finger that they like to use is the index finger. Right? Just do it. Or else I will. So because that way, the child feels the negativity all the time. Okay, they're young, they don't have a choice because you are the giant and they look up to you and they have nowhere else to turn to except the parent. And if the parent keep using this method of positional leadership, because parents are leaders in the family, right? If they keep using this, what happens is that the child will keep absorbing this negativity. They don't have a choice to retaliate because they're too young. But one fine day, they will. When they start becoming a teenager, when they start becoming an 18-year-old, the wings are starting to spread. They will not want to be with their parents anymore. And a lot of parents wonder, what's wrong with you? Why don't you have dinner with us? Why don't you have lunch with us? And they forget that it is all because of the initial sowing of the wrong seed. It sprouts a different tree, gives you a different fruit. So they need to understand that the 4 levels, they must move up the levels. Now from being positional, they must move up to the next level, which is what we call permission level. They must be able to allow the child to give them permission to lead them. In other words, form relationships with the child. And then subsequently move up to what we call, the child will look at the father as, you're a production person, you have achieved, I want to be like you, Dad. You're a doctor, I want to be like you. So they move up from position to permission to production, and finally to people development. So the father and the mother must be look at the child as, okay, I'm bringing you through a journey, and eventually I want to develop you into a better person. So I cannot just keep there all the time. Even if you're a teenager, I'm still using positional leadership. It will not work. And that's the reason why we're having all these communication issues today. They're not communicating on the same level. The child grows up and they are different. The parent must be able to bring themselves down to the level of the child and communicate with the child at their level, not at the parent's level. Right? And I'll share with you a story. When I was a young father, I did the same. I could never teach my son for more than 10 minutes. Mathematics especially. I would get so agitated. Why can't you understand a simple problem sum? Primary school. But I failed to understand that to my son, that is a very difficult problem sum. Because at that age of maybe 7 or 8. But looking from the eyes of an adult, it's so simple. So I was coming and teaching him from the eyes of an adult and not coming to his level and say, son, let me bring myself to 7, 8-year-old and let me look at the problem from your angle. then I'll understand, oh, I see, that's why you're finding it difficult. So because when I'm coming down from the top, to me it's so simple, I get frustrated because he cannot understand it, because I'm trying to make him me, which is totally wrong. So as a result, I get frustrated, I get stressed, I walk out of the room. And the poor boy never had a chance to learn. Ended up getting scolding.
I can see that actually there's a double problem.
Yep.
Firstly, because we know that every child already has a different personality.
Correct.
In other words, the way they communicate,
Exactly.
the way that they understand you,
Exactly.
the way that they do things,
Exactly.
they are all different.
Yep.
And now with the age gap,
Yep.
and one that is trying to
Yep.
do or achieve, well, the other actually have a very, very high expectation
Exactly.
that I almost require you to just do it.
Exactly.
And what's so difficult?
What's so difficult?
What's so difficult?
Exactly. What's so difficult? Yes.
And I think because of that expectation and that personality and the age gap, it actually doubles the
He adds.
doubles the difficulty.
Exactly.
All right,
Yeah.
in trying to get that point across.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
And I can understand because I'm also a father. I'm a father of two.
How old are your kids?
How my kids are? I have one 8 and one 3.
Okay, good age. Good age to know now, so that you can hear.
That's right. That's right. And I was a teacher.
Yep.
I've been dealing with
Sure.
student teenagers.
Sure.
Now, despite of that, despite understanding that I don't want to be having a top-down kind of approach,
Yes.
but sometimes it just gets on your nerves, and you just in the end resort to that.
Yeah.
But you know that you have already damaged
Yeah.
the relationship.
Correct.
And many times we just have to reflect upon it, and then from there we say that, have I not come down to his or her level
Yes.
to see what we can't see, but actually they are
Exactly.
seeing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Wow. So we haven't even gone
We
halfway.
haven't even got, not even we're just at the tip of the iceberg actually.
But I thought this is important to really set the context of what we are going into.
Sure.
Right? And anyway, I'm Roland Ang here. I'm the host for today, LiveLifeToTheFullest.tv. And today our topic is parenting wisdom, especially in terms of understanding your child personality. And with that, right, we also hope that with that it can help you to improve your relationship with your child. So of course here we have Andrew Soong to continue to share with us. So if you have just came in, all right, to your YouTube or to our Facebook, and if you want to engage with us through a Q&A session, we'll welcome you to actually click to the link and request for a Zoom link so that you can join our Zoom session, and so that you later on can enjoy a Q&A session with Andrew Soong here. All right, so with that, let's continue this conversation.
It's getting interesting.
Now, what can be the result of bad communication between parents and their children?
Very simple. Because of the top-down, because of the positional leadership, the child eventually don't want to spend time with the parents. Why would we want to spend time with someone who is so negative all the time? Wherever I go, I get nagged at. Why don't you behave this way? That kind of thing. When I'm on the dining table, I get interrogated. So what's school like? How many marks do you do? Do you do homework? So everything is about work, right? There's nothing about me. So eventually the child will feel that, why should I spend time with you? Mom, Dad, I may as well go spend time with my friends who accept me for who I am. That's the key.
Yeah.
They don't accept the child, or they want to duplicate the child and think the child is them. Like you just said, setting expectations that are not realistic.
Yeah. Actually, I want to take this opportunity to sort of defend the parents a bit.
Okay.
All right. I don't think we're saying that the parents has bad intention.
Yes.
Or very negative expectation or unrealistic demands.
Yep.
I don't think we are talking about that.
Yep.
We understand that parents, they have good intention for their children.
Yep.
Definitely.
Every parent has
Now,
that.
even if it's a top-down approach, we believe that
Sure.
it has good intentions.
Yes.
I mean, coming from my own experience, all right, I have parents who use top-down approach.
Yep.
All right, and I have to agree, it really caused a lot of tension. And you are right in the sense that I don't feel like I want to talk to them. I don't even feel like I want to live with them.
Yeah.
All right, and of course with that, I decided that I want to have my own life. But what happened is that it took me many years to realize that, wow, actually my parents, they have good intention for me.
Yes.
But that's the point, is that it took me how many years? It took me like 20 years to realize my parents' good intention. Now, how I wish that if right from the beginning,
Yes.
I already know that it's because the way we communicate
Yep.
that are different.
Correct.
And I would able to understand that why my parents treat me like that.
Yes.
Or maybe the other way. My parents may understand why I'm not reciprocating
Yep.
the way that they want.
Correct.
Then I think this relationship could have already,
Be much better.
much better.
Yes.
That we have not wasted 20 years of our time.
Yep.
And sometimes I regret it. But I just realized that that's what happened. It is what it
Correct.
is.
Yes.
It's not because I want it that way. And there's so much regrets. There's so much regrets. And I think we hope that today, if we hear from Andrew, all right, it may give us better insights, and so that we can study right.
You're right. Correct.
Study right.
Correct.
Especially if, let's say, your children are young now and can take this opportunity. All right. Okay. Good. So with that, let's continue. Okay. So how can now we are into it.
Yeah, now we do it. Yeah, sure.
Okay. How can personality profiling help parents and children in relationship building?
Okay, that's interesting. Now, I want to take a point from what you mentioned earlier on. I'm not saying that what the parents are doing right now is wrong. Quite a few of the parents are bringing up their children from the top down, unintentionally and not aware that what they are doing actually is not helping the relationship. Okay. For whatever the case may be, I did the same when I was bringing up my son, because my father brought me up the way he brought me up, which is the best way he knew how. He wasn't intentional in being the fierce father or the authoritative father, because that was what and how he knew how to bring me up. And just like you, more than 20 years after, I look back and say, yeah, so I got scolded at all those things. At that time when I was young, I didn't like it. But when I became a father myself, I appreciated what my father did. Same like you. That he did what he could, the best he could, with whatever knowledge he knew. But why I'm sitting here today is I would like our younger parents of today not to follow your parents of yesterday. And to use what we have to offer you as a blueprint for your children, so that you now have a better understanding of how your children is wired, that you can use the correct way of bringing them up to help them maximize their giftedness and their strength area, instead of creating miscommunication with them and all these sour relationships, because the children are our next generation. If I don't do something now to help you as parents bring your children up in a more holistic way, we will just be replicating what our generation was before to the next generation. And there will be no improvement in our lifestyles, everything will be the same. Same, that they used to say, right? So I'm here because I feel that there's a mission to help the parents out there develop children for the tomorrow, so that we have a better generation that will bring our nation and our world to a better place. Because everyone becomes more holistically brought up. So coming back to this question, how can personality profiling help you? When we do a D.I.S.C. personality profiling, let me just help you understand what D.I.S.C. means first, all right? D stands for dominant. In other words, children who have this dominant nature are natural leaders. They are very risk takers. They are willing to go forth and try, right? The I are for children who are very influencing. They are the ones that you will find very talkative. And they'll talk to anybody and everybody with no fear. But the one thing about them is that they just need company. They need to be among people. And during this circuit breaker, some of you parents will find that your child is stressed because the child is deprived of his or her classmates. He or she needs people around them. The parents are not enough, because the parents are not the ones that communicate with them at their level. They need people who are at their level. So the school is the part that way they're missing. Okay. The S are for children who are very steady. They're very people-centric. They're very caring. But they're also not those who will accept change very readily. Okay. So this circuit breaker again creates problems for them because it's a total change of their natural comfort zone, or being in school, or being etc. So they too have to adjust. And if, like what you say, the parents are quarreling at home, this poor child is just, oh man, the emotions are just turned upside down. And that's where the stress point comes up. For those who are C, it's about being compliant. And a compliant child is a very task-oriented child. They need data and information to sometimes make decisions, right? And so again, all these plays a part into the child who is in your home today, and it's creating stress. They're no longer in their natural environment, which is going to school, going out for ECA, meeting their friends, etc., right? Okay. So how will this help you is when you do a profiling for your child, you then understand that, okay, I have 3 children. One could be a D, one could be an S, one could be an I, or whatever. And then you understand their charism. I just said a D needs to lead. But because we treat our children from top down, every decision we make for them versus allowing them to make the decision. So we are stifling their giftedness of being able to make decisions and lead. So I'll give you an example. A lot of parents, when they bring the children up, they tell the children, I want you to wear this color, I want you to wear this pattern, I want you to wear this shoe brand, etc., etc., etc. And if the child is a D child, he or she doesn't have the opportunity to make decisions. As a result, they are being stifled. They want to make the decision, but they cannot because the parents keep saying, do it. But if you understand your child's makeup and you know that your child is a D, you allow your child to exercise the charism. Instead of telling your child, wear this color, buy this shoe, buy this brand, you go to a shopping center and you tell the child, okay, this is a shopping center. You want to buy a pair of shoes, right? You want to buy t-shirts, whatever. You go and choose what you want. The color you want, the pattern you want, the size you want, etc. When you're done, text me, call me. I will come and pay. Now, there's a big difference telling the child, you must buy this versus go and choose, come back to me, and I'll pay. You allow the child, the D child, to exercise the charism. Then the child feels, my mommy and daddy respect my decision. So the child feels more connected with you because you have allowed the child to do that. Just a simple example. So if you know how your child is wired, you will allow your child to exercise the charism. It's very important. Small little thing, very, very important.
This is interesting.
Yes.
In other words, it's not about whether my child is listening to me or not, or whether my child is disobedient or not, or whether my child is not loving me anymore. And it's not about that.
Yes, not about that.
All right, there's nothing personal. It's just the way they behave.
Correct.
That's the way they work.
Yeah.
And I think the unfortunate thing is, it creates so much tension.
Yes.
Because we have a certain misunderstanding.
Correct.
That my child is disobedient. My child doesn't love me anymore.
Yep.
All right. And in that case, why I need to do this for him or for her?
Correct.
And I think this adds on.
Exactly.
Right? Adds on.
Exactly. Let me share with you another example which is very common. My child is not studying enough and I want him to sit there for an hour to study. But every now and then he's very fidgety. He goes to do something else. He just doesn't want to stay there to study. And then when I do the D.I.S.C, I find that my child is an I-wired child. That gives me a different story. An eye-wired child, the mind is always wandering. They're always multitasking. They're always doing things every now and then. And they cannot sit still and concentrate for a full hour. Okay? Because as they're doing this thing, they're thinking, oh, I forgot to text my friend. Then they go and do something else. Then they come back again. They continue, oh, I forgot to finish this. Then he goes and do something, it comes back again. As a result, they drop the ball on the main thing that they're supposed to do. Now, couple that with a mother or a father who is a C-wired. The C-wired person must do from A to Z. You cannot jump from 1 to 3, 3 to 5 and come back to 2. No way. You must be from 1 and end in 10, if that's the way. So the C mother will say, sit down here and finish your studies. No, you must do your things here. You must, etc., etc. But the child is eye-wired and they cannot concentrate for so long. But the eye-wired child can concentrate in short spans. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 15. So if the mother knew that this is an eye child, she would say, okay, you concentrate for 10 minutes, okay? I'll let you go and play. Do something else, and then you come back again, right? Then I will reward you when you come back. Because eye child thrives on praise and acceptance. So when the child comes back and says, oh, every time I come, I get 1 star. Oh, happy, or I get a sweet. I want to come back. So he spends 15 minutes fully concentrating. Off he goes, plays his Game Boy for a little while. Comes back again, the mom says, okay, you get 1 star. If you get 10 stars, I buy you something, or I will reward you with this. So she used reward and praise to attract and motivate the child. Because then she knows my child is eye-wired. That's how she does it. But if she doesn't know, then she's getting very stressed out. Why my child cannot sit still and study and do from 1 to 10? Because I'm C-wired. The mother is C-wired. Cannot understand. So as a result, what she does, she pours oil onto fire and starts scolding the child, beating the child, punishing the child. And the child says, why are you punishing me? That's how I'm wired. I cannot sit still for an hour, mom. Don't you understand that? And because the child is young, no choice, right? Kena. But that adds more and more stress to the child, to the point the child hates studying Chinese, hates studying mathematics, because my mother forced me to do it. So the approach is wrong. Because they don't understand.
Having said that,
Yeah.
does that mean that if I were to understand his personality,
Yes.
which is the I,
Yes.
all right, and I allow him
Yep.
to do his own way,
Not his own way, but you have boundaries. You set boundaries for him as well.
there
Yes.
it goes, right?
Yes.
So I suppose is for a C parent
Yes.
to able to systemize
Yes.
in a certain way
Yep.
that allow his personality,
Yep.
all right, to grow,
Yep.
but yet at the same time slowly get him into a C mode.
Into a systematic way of doing it. He
systematic
won't be a
way.
C. Never be a C.
You never be C. Okay. All right, you're
Yeah.
right. So you know it's the expectation, right, of the
Yes,
parents.
correct.
Because now we're talking about how this personality profiling will help parents.
Exactly.
So I think it's really like to able to manage their own expectation.
Correct.
For example, you're right.
Yep.
My I child is never going to be a C child.
Never.
But maybe I can get him
Yep.
to have maybe 30%, 40% C.
Yep.
But what is more important is to let the I also able to grow healthily.
Correct.
Right.
Exactly.
Rather than to stifle the I
yes.
and try to get him to become a 100% C,
Not possible.
which is
Not possible.
it's like you're
It's
asking.
it's like putting a square peg in a round hole.
Yeah,
Eventually, what happens is they will rebel.
that's right.
They will rebel.
All right.
And that's why parents cannot figure out, why is my child so rebellious? It's because of these little things.
Yeah, and worse is they compare with themselves as the yardstick. See, I can do it. Why not you?
Exactly. Or they compare with someone else. Another someone else's child, or the brother, or the sister, and it makes the child feel...
That is worse.
So it's low self-esteem starts from there. I'm not good enough. You're a hopeless child. So the word hopeless has a major impact. Parents should never use that word hopeless on a child. You're telling the child, and sometimes, like you earlier said, some of the children take a really silly decision and do something silly. In all these years that you brought your child, you want to see that to waste? Why?
Yeah.
Yeah, why waste the child's life?
Okay. Wow. This is a good conversation. Again, we are still not there yet.
Yeah, right. We're not even close.
All right. So let's see. Now, how does personality profiling resolve parent and child conflict?
Well, we already touched a little bit on it, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if the parent understands how the child is wired, and they understand how they are wired, which is also important. You may know the child's behavioral style, but if you don't know your own, then you're also coming from an area of blindness, or you're blinded.
You're right. Okay, this one,
Yep.
I'm going to help you.
Sure,
I'm going to
sure,
help you. Yes, because a lot of time parents say that the problem is my child.
Yeah.
I do not need profiling. My child need profiling.
Yes.
Right, so that he can understand himself better.
Yep.
But I do not need. Because he's the problem, not me. Okay, so you're saying that in order for this to really work,
Yeah, both sides.
in order for both of them
Yes.
to able to resolve this conflict, right? It's important for them to know each other and their own personality.
Exactly. Let me give you an example. You have a D child, you're an I-wired mother. And I-wired people would like to talk a lot. And the D child is just wants it short and sharp, cut and dry. So you come and talk to your child, you want to give him or her instructions to do certain things, but you're I-wired. So you start with, son, I went to the market and I met your auntie. Then I met your auntie and then we went to coffee shop. We started talking and then we spoke about where she went, how she enjoyed herself. Then the D child standing there, Mom, hurry up. Give me the instruction. I want to just give it to me and go. Why are you wasting my time? So in his mind, he's saying that, give it to me quick lah. You're telling me this story about auntie for what? Nothing to do with what you want me to do, right? So that in itself is already assumptions and misconceptions already. So that's negative. On the reverse, the mother is a D, the son is an I, and she's giving instructions. All right, go do this. Chop, 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 chop. Okay, off you go. Then the son said, Mom, you don't like me? Why are you not speaking to me? Why are you not sharing things with me? Why you don't love me? So again, misconception, right? Now, if the mother understands that the son is an I, she's a D, she needs to spend a little bit more time talking to the child about frivolous things first, then give the instruction. So the child feels that, Mommy loves me. Then I go do my work. And if on the reverse, the child is a D, she's an I, okay, I don't spend so much time telling you stories. Here's what I want you to do. Go clean your room. This is da-da-da-da. Off you go. Then he goes. It helps a lot because then it takes away all this misconception about, you don't love me? Why you don't listen to me? Just exactly what you just said.
That's right.
Exactly.
So in other words, this personality profiling, if you can understand, it saves you so much frustration, time, all right? And in fact, this also allows you to quickly build that positive relationship.
Exactly.
That loving relationship.
Yep.
And with that bonding that's so strong, that, well, if you want me to do anything, I'm willing to do it.
Exactly.
Right? Because I do it out of this relationship.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's just like anything else. When you have a relationship with somebody and you want that person, you need help from that person. Because of that relationship, that friendship, that person is more willing to stop everything, even though he or she is very busy, to help you. Because we have a relationship. However, if you do not have a relationship, what I'm going to tell you, Roland, wait. Let me finish my things first. If I have time, I will come and help you. If not, I'm sorry, I'm going to do my things. Same with relationships. The minute you build the relationship, you build the connection, it's the touching the heart versus touching the head. Things begin to resolve all these conflicts. This has all been built up over the years because unfortunately, the parent is unaware of what they are doing is actually counterproductive versus productive. Now I'm going to give you this blueprint of your child so that you know for sure how he or she is wired and what phrases to use to motivate them to do things and how you should work with them to allow their giftedness to surface. It's a big difference. If I only knew, I've got two sons. If I only knew, like you were saying, if we only knew, life would have been so simple.
You're right, yes.
Right? We've been doing it trial and error. We hit and miss.
That's true.
Sometimes we're lucky, we hit. But most times we miss. And then what happens? We regret. Why? Why live in a world of regret? Why not take this step and be to know what's happening? Yeah.
Wow. So this really a lot of insight coming from Andrew. And if you have just watched us through YouTube or Facebook, we welcome you. I'm Roland Ang here. I'm the host for today's session, LiveLifeToTheFullest.tv, and our topic was actually talking about parenting wisdom, especially in the aspect of understanding your child personality. All right, and basically what we are really talking about is this particular personality profiling tool, all right, called D.I.S.C.
Yes.
And I'm just wondering, because there are also other type of personality profiling tools.
Exactly, yes.
But why D.I.S.C? I mean, you have shared with us about what is D.I.S.C, but then why this D.I.S.C and not other tools?
Well, D.I.S.C is a very common tool, and it's been around for a long time, right? But because we are using it from what we call the Maxwell method, and John Maxwell, he's a leadership guru. So he has helped us to develop this D.I.S.C profiling based on leadership skills, communication skills, etc. And these are key to parenting. Besides just only organization, it's key to parenting. Like I said, parents are all leaders. Okay? And the way we structure our reports, the way we do the debrief, etc., is tailored towards those lines of leadership, communication, influence. So that's where we come from. So when we do the debrief, we help you understand the way the child likes to be communicated by, the way he or she doesn't like to, what are their fears. Every letter D.I.S.C has a certain particular fear that if the parent is not aware, they will trigger the fear, and that causes problems. All right. I'm sure other personality profiling tools are equally good, but it's just that because I am certified, I'm trained, I am a consultant with the D.I.S.C, Maxwell D.I.S.C. That's why I advocate the Maxwell. Yeah.
I understand that there are many other personality profiling tools. But it's just that they are very, very suitable for corporate.
In a way, yes.
In a way, for professional use.
Yes.
All right. Of course, they are very expensive. But what I think about D.I.S.C is it is a very simple model. Even a layman, like me, like you and me, that we can understand easily because it is not complicated, but yet it is so true.
It's a very accurate report. Very accurate.
It's so true.
Yes.
So in other words, this something will be our thing that is simple enough.
Yes.
All right, but effective enough for any one of us.
Correct.
To really use it. Right. Wow. So I think this is something that we can think about.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Just before you move on, and that's the reason why Maxwell has created this special report for children, where the children takes an online assessment of 15 questions that allows them to understand the questions so that they can answer it subconsciously, versus the adult version. Right? And you're rightful to say that most of the others are for adults. This is also for, we also have the adult version, but we felt that, as I said, children are the future of our future, the next leaders, right? Let's get it right. Let's get parenting right, so that the next phase is easier. Let's overcome the obstacle first.
In fact, I think this question will be very relevant, right? Based on your experience, then how effective D.I.S.C, right, has been for you in terms of parenting coaching?
We've done this for more than 6 months already. In fact, as long as a year. I've actually gone back to a parent with 4 children that they did the D.I.S.C. Okay, plus the parents did it. Now, the feedback I received was that prior to doing the D.I.S.C assessments, they were using the old method of bringing children up, the nag, scold, the standard type. And that didn't get them very far. And so when they did the D.I.S.C assessment, she found out that all 4 kids were different. To her amazement, all 4 kids were different. One was a D, one was a S, one was a C, and one was I.
Wow, 报告了.
And she was an S, a full S style behavioral person. And so she had to grapple with, how do I now handle my children? They're all different. And because in the report, we give you some suggestive phrases to use with the child. And because she understood the children's makeup now better, and when she wanted to get them to do certain things, she would do it in their language, in their behavioral language, no longer her language, but their behavioral language. And take, for example, she has a son that is a S-style son and an S-style daughter. The S-style child is very emotional. They thrive on emotions, right? And so when she wants to get them to do things, she would say, you know, mommy needs help. I have a lot of things to do. Mommy needs a little bit of help. Would you help me? Immediately the child will respond. Because the child wants to help. So the child extends the help without having to tell them to do it. Right? With the C child, because the C child needs data to process, right? And she's got rabbits at home. And she said, you know, son, rabbits need water and hay to survive. So she starts with that. And the child said, yeah, okay, so that's facts. By the way, our rabbit hasn't had water and hay for a few days or for the whole day. What do you think we should do? Off he goes, feeds the rabbit. Because he's already processed that rabbits need water and hay to survive. My rabbit hasn't had it. Let's go feed the rabbit.
So rather than telling him that you go and feed the the rabbit.
Exactly.
Go and feed him now.
Exactly.
No, that doesn't go well with him.
Exactly.
Right? But yet the better way, a more effective way is to give him information.
Yeah.
And from there, and he has the amazing ability. It's his gift, like what you mentioned. It's gift.
That's how he's wired.
To process.
Exactly.
And once he processes it, it makes sense. Okay, let me go and feed the rabbit.
Yeah. So there's no argument. There's no need to argue. Just help them to understand, come from a different angle, come from their angle, so they'll help you to do it. So for the D child, similarly, just help them to understand that when you do this, you know, you'll be appreciated. There's this, you know, this leadership, you'll be able to make decisions on your own, So she uses the different phrases, different style to speak to the child's behavioral style. Not speak to the child. Speak to the child's behavioral style. And it works. And she's been amazed since 6 months ago.
But how does that that means how does that knowing her own personality help in this aspect? Because now it feels like it's more like the mother understanding her child's or her children's personality.
Yes.
And I'm doing what it is.
Yes.
But now if you're saying that she's an
S-style, yes.
Then how her personality really helps in this parenting?
You see, if she continues to use her S-style, it doesn't click with the children. You must tailor your own style to who you're communicating with. It's not so much imposing your style to the other person, just like the C-style mother. She cannot impose her C-style on an I child. She must tune herself to the I child because she's wanting the child to do something. It's not she wanting to do the thing. On the other hand, because the children know she's S-style, the way they phrase the question to her to get acceptance, in other words, they want to go somewhere, right? So they phrase it in such a way that the mother will give the okay. They are also smart. So it works both ways.
So you're saying that if the parent were to understand their own personality, likelihood they will understand that why naturally I am not doing this, I'm not doing that. Now, since I understand my personality and my children's personality, I now in a better position to do certain things that is unnatural.
Well, not so much unnatural. That's necessary.
Okay, that's necessary. So in other words, it requires effort.
It's intentional. You have to do
intention
it.
and effort.
Yes.
All right?
Yeah.
For the sake of the children.
Yes.
All right, but that's okay.
Yep.
You know, because then I know that I need to add a little more effort.
Yes.
So in that case, right, I'm more mindful.
Aware.
Yes. That I need to do this a little more.
Yep.
All right. I may not be I'm not a naturally praising parent.
Yes.
But because of my child, now I'm going to put in a little more effort in doing that.
Correct.
And in that case, that will work.
Yep.
So I guess the parent will be in a much better position to adjust themselves.
Yes.
And yet, they also won't feel so frustrated.
Exactly.
Because they know that it is an effort.
Yes.
And it will pay off.
Correct.
All right. It will pay off, and it's worth doing it.
It is worth.
Right. Wow.
Every parent loves their children, right?
That's right.
And they want to see the best for their children. But they have been trying to give the children the best, but not at the optimal level. They are doing, I think he or she wants this or needs this, la la la. But now that they know how the child is wired, they can really optimize how to bring the child up. That's the difference.
Yes.
The end result is the child feels comfortable. The child feels that mommy, daddy respects me, loves me. I will reciprocate. And this friend of mine said, before doing it, none of the child wants to sit next to mommy. None of the child. Because why? Negativity, right? On the dining table is... Now every child is fighting to sit next to mommy. You see the difference? What a difference. And they're now so open to tell her things. They are no longer afraid of mommy. Because previously when they say something to mommy, mommy may scold them. So they keep. I don't share. Now that the mom is more open, they don't feel threatened. They are more willing to come and share with the mother their problems, their innermost concerns and fears, etc. Because they know mommy will not scold me, but mommy will sit down with me and help me. That's the big difference. And a lot of children today will not speak to the parents because they are afraid. Because all the years of bringing up, they are all monologue, you know. Have you eaten? Yeah. You know, they don't want to sit down and discuss. Very few relationships are like that. And it's such a waste. Because these kids, especially when they become teenagers, they need more guidance. Versus taking advice from the friends who are not in that area or understanding of bringing them up, right? The parents are yearning to want to teach and help the child, but they cannot break through because of this issue. So here we are giving them this blueprint again to help them start from young so that when they reach teenage years, they are already having a very strong bond and relationship that makes the whole family, thriving.
I see. Wow. So I hope that by now you have some insight into what really a personality or understanding a personality can do for us, especially in the area of communication and building positive relationship. All right, let's see what we have. All right, so okay, but having said that, are there like any downside or limitation in using D.I.S.C?
There's actually none, but the parent, like you rightfully say, must be intentional. You can do all the reports you want, but if you don't take action, it comes to a big zero. If you as the parent really love your child and really want to see your child be successful in 10 years time, 20 years time, to be a person that he or she should be, then you need to work on it. It is not about getting a report and say, oh, this is a magic report. He or she will now suddenly turn successful. No way. You have to work at it. You need to put in effort.
I understand that even schools, they most probably pay a very small amount of money and to get every of their student, get them profiled. And then in the end, they will get a report.
Yes.
Now, from my understanding, it is after reading the report, it is more like a self-knowledge.
Yes, right.
All right. Maybe after reading the report, it gives me a better awareness of myself.
Correct.
Maybe there's some recommendation on how I can improve myself.
Correct.
But does that really sort of solve the problem? Especially if there's already some kind of conflict or tension that's already building up.
Correct.
Between two persons, in this case, parent and child. Or maybe even teacher and the student.
Yes.
So, in other words, this D.I.S.C, if it's just having a report, then I would say so much stays at the self-awareness.
Nothing happens.
Right.
No change.
No change. Right?
No change.
In fact, my understanding is after a while, most probably you have forgotten it.
You forgot. Yeah, that's right.
All right. And you might even say that it is not useful.
Yeah.
So in other words, in this situation, it's very important to not only just know, but to see what kind of context or what kind of situation that this D.I.S.C can be applied to.
Correct.
And my understanding is not I apply alone,
Yes.
but is with my counterparts.
Exactly. Yes.
Right? In this case, it's either my teacher or with my parent, or in this case, with your child.
Correct.
All right?
Correct.
Okay, so I think we need to understand.
Exactly.
If it's just paying for a report, then that's so much
Yeah.
it can do.
You can do it online for free.
Oh yeah, you're
Yes.
right.
You can do it
That's
online
right,
for
that's
free.
right.
But the only difference is that the online version is not the complete version. It just tells
I'm
you
sure.
you're a D, you're I, or a SCC.
That's right.
It gives you like maybe 3-4 pages.
That's right. That's
But
right.
the report that we give is about almost a 15-page report.
Okay.
It comes in 3 parts. One part is for the child, so that we can brief the child and help him or her understand her giftedness, strengths, etc., and also areas of improvement. All right. So the way we do the debrief is first we debrief the parents of the child and help the parents understand this is how your child is wired. These are the areas that you can help your child to grow. These are the phrases you need to use to help the child, to motivate them, etc., etc. Then after which, we'll bring the child in and then we will brief the child. Okay. However, on the third part of the report, there's one for the teacher. We give that, I mean, the parents can decide whether they want to give it to the teacher or not, but it's very helpful. So the third report is to give to the teacher. So the teacher having to handle 44 children, there's no way she's going to be able to handle everyone. But if she has the report of your child and knows that your child is a D-wired, she knows these are his strengths, these are the areas that I can help him to be developed, this is his fear. So I don't trigger his fear, etc., right? Then she helps him to also improve on his own giftedness. If he's a D, she gives him maybe decisions to make. Class monitor, for example, take decisions. Make mistakes, it's okay, but try and fail, it's all right. Versus not knowing, then don't give him the opportunity, then he gets frustrated.
I see. All right. So it's just good to take note of this, especially if you think that D.I.S.C is something that you will want to try.
Correct.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Good. What do parents have to do with their kids using D.I.S.C? I think we sort of spoke about that, right?
Correct.
Okay. So good. We covered pretty much.
Yeah, but I just want to touch on that point where you said that the partner or the spouse or the husband and wife, it'd be good if both also do the D.I.S.C because ultimately it's not just the mother being the disciplinarian or the person bringing up the children. The spouse plays a part as well.
This is especially when both of them, they have very, very different personalities.
Exactly.
Usually they have different personalities.
Yes.
It is almost impossible to have two personalities.
It's possible. It's possible, but they are of varying degree. They may be a high S and a mid C, for example, but the other one may be not as high S, but very narrow C. So it depends.
I can understand where Andrew is coming from because if you know your personality and you done that, you most probably will. You do it in a certain way to communicate with your child. The unfortunate thing will be that your spouse disagree with you.
Yes. And your spouse may undo everything that you are doing.
Oh yeah, that's
and
right.
goes back to square one. Because
the child will be very confused.
Exactly. It takes 2 hands to clap, right? Father and mother are the guardians of the children. They must be in sync. It's just like an organization. You got a CEO giving instructions here. You got a CFO doing something else different. The whole organization will be confused.
That's right.
Same with the family. Just imagine your family is an organization, right? You have, instead of 100 people, you have 3 kids. Same principle applies for leadership. Same. Instructions must be consistent. The values of the family must be consistent. And they must walk the talk. Yeah, parents, you are the leaders of your children. You need to walk the talk. You don't tell children what to do and you do otherwise, because then the children will be walking, come on, Dad, you tell me not to do it, but you do. Where's the trust? They will lose the trust and they can no longer lead effectively. That's the key.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we sort of touched pretty much on this already, right?
We have.
Okay, good. So right now we are almost to get into the Q&A session. All right, so this is where we can have those who have joined us in our Zoom session to ask questions, right? But before we go into that, I thought that it might be good that we have now a better personal understanding of Andrew. Now we knew him or we know him professionally, but because I'm interested in you as a person.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask him some live questions.
Okay.
After all, LiveLifeToTheFullest.tv, we really focus on advocating that kind of positive human spirit.
Yep.
And so that we can grow together, striving for wisdom.
Yep.
And I think with wisdom, that is where we raise up healthy individuals with strong, united families.
Yes.
And after all, families are the building blocks of a nation.
Yes, exactly.
So I thought that this will be an opportunity for me to ask, all right, Andrew, some question. I think it's also good for all of us to have to know him personally.
Yep.
Not everything.
It's important. It's important. Yes.
To some extent.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is where Roland is going to ask him some question. Huh?
Alrighty.
All right. So this is really about Andrew. Now, maybe share with us.
Yep.
I remember I hear you, and maybe I don't know, maybe your younger days or whatever.
Yep.
What do you have any struggles, life struggles?
Nothing life-threatening, but coming from the parenting standpoint, the way I brought up my firstborn was not the right way. I was using a lot of anger, loud voice to bring him up. And as a result, if I look back now and knowing what I know, I could have hurt him emotionally or otherwise, right? Fortunately, I had the opportunity to neutralize it when he was older, and an opportunity to attend a retreat where I was able to bring myself from authority to humility, and to tell my son, I'm sorry. I'm not sure if you could remember what I did to you, but I'm sorry, I'm asking you for forgiveness. And parents need to be able to do that, because you are not just, a leader is not just someone who knows everything. A leader also needs to have humility to lead a family. And I was fortunate enough to do that. But having looked back, if I only knew what I know today, my son wouldn't have had those challenging moments with me. And I would have brought him up with more love, more care. I mean, the example I cite where I cannot teach him for more than 15 minutes. If I only knew that I could come to his level and look at it from his eyes, things would be so much different. So those are some of the struggles I had as a parent, right? My son today is in his 30s, married, and hopefully he'll start his family. But again, now he has a tool that he can use when his child is born. He hopefully will not make the mistakes that I made. So those were my struggles as a parent. But today, if you ask me about other things, that as a trainer, my struggle is that all my gigs, all my workshops got cancelled and postponed. My speaking engagements were moved, and it affected my income. That's the struggle that most of us as trainers experience.
That's right. That's right.
Yep.
I think this pandemic really affected our lives and our livelihood.
Yes.
To so great extent.
Correct.
I think like what people use, unprecedented.
Correct.
It's like it's unthinkable. It's like why this can happen.
Yep.
You know, and I think it's affecting even globally.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So this is something that we need to prepare ourselves for.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
And most probably there are more struggle coming along.
Yep.
Right. So to us, then isn't it is more important to able to get the foundation right?
Yes, exactly.
Because if not, struggle is going to compound. And I don't think you want it to compound over a relationship that's already so fragile.
Yes. Yep. And especially right now is the best time actually. The pandemic, if you look at it from the positive side, we are now able to be together with the family for so long. But what do we do with it? Do we do what we have been doing before and get stressed? Or do we take a decision and pivot? Do we take advantage of something whereby we can do something positive and make a difference when the pandemic is over? And to build that family bonding and relationship.
Okay. So how did you bounce back?
Well, like I said, if it was parenting, I humbled myself.
Yeah, you're saying about humility. So maybe share with us more about this.
Yeah. So, like I said, I was fortunate enough to attend a retreat. That I'm a person of faith. I'm a Christian. I'm a Catholic actually. And we had a retreat where I was helping out, and my son happened to be the retreatant. And I took the advantage to sit him down and speak to him and tell him that, hey, Daddy, sorry for all that he did, because Daddy didn't know otherwise. Please forgive me. And then in turn, he was able to articulate, okay, I forgive you. That was great. You know, that would have moved a chapter of his life out, the negative part of it. And that was something that I felt was necessary to do. Because we cannot keep thinking that I'm the father and no way, I'm not going to come down to your level. I let my ego overrule me. That's not the way, right? So, like I said, from authority to humility, we need to do that. And it has to be intentional.
But you were saying that actually you went for a retreat.
Yes.
All right. So I think that it's so important for all of us, even as adults, to really continue to educate and to re-educate ourselves, even as we get older.
Yep.
And maybe because our circumstances changes, our environment changes,
Yep.
and we are going through different stages of life.
Yep.
And all this will change.
Yes.
Even the dynamics that's around us. And we just have to continually improve ourselves, upgrade ourselves, or like I mentioned, educate ourselves.
Yeah.
And so that we keep moving. And I think it's such a great spirit for you to say that, you know, although I'm of this age, but it's also important for me to realize, to reflect, and say that it's time for me to change.
Yes.
It's time for me to say sorry.
And you do not have to go for a retreat, all right? Let me put it this way. You do not have to go for a retreat. You can do it at home, anytime. Just have the mindset that you want to reconcile. Because at the end of the day, why keep the tension in the home? You want to have peace. And as a father, as a parent, you want to exude love. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's about my children. They are the ones that are going to take the torch and move to the next level. Wouldn't you as parents want to see your children be successful, holistically brought up? If you are a caring parent, a loving parent, that's basically what we want to see in our children, to be better than us. So why hang on to that ego, to that, no, it's me, I'm of authority? Why? Help them to reconcile with the hurt that we may have caused to them.
All right, good. How did you live life to the fullest? It's like a big summary, you know, of your life.
Right. Now, I view living life to the fullest as being someone that is outward focused, not so much inward focused. What can I do to help somebody? What can I do to add value to someone who is younger than me, or maybe even at my age? To come to a realization that life is more than just about me. You know, there are a lot of people out there who are stuck at this moment. Stuck because of fear. No job, etc. And they just need a listening ear. They need to tell somebody what's inside of it, because it's bottled up. And there's no one to talk to. The family just is not ready for that. And some of these people need to also understand that they are not the only ones stuck in this situation. There are many people who are stuck together. We're on the same boat. So if they can meet some of these people to understand that, hey, there are other people like me, but how do they get over it? This is how they did it. And that may help spark an idea that, oh, I never thought about this. I could do this. And then help them get unstuck. There's always a need to help someone. And when you help somebody without wanting repayment, that's when you get the benefit, because your life is changed. You see people's lives change, you're edified, and you just want to do more. So leave a legacy behind. A legacy that one day when you're no longer around, it says, yeah, I remember that guy Andrew, he sowed some goodness into me, and today I can do likewise. He helped me bring my children up holistically when I was stuck. He helped me in a crisis to come with a solution. That guy, although small for what he did, he changed my life. He changed my whole family's life. That's what I want to do. Leave a legacy that someone can say something good about you.
Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Okay, let's see what we have.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your expertise in your life work journey? Now, you're saying that this D.I.S.C and being this trainer has been a while.
Yes.
But before that, what were you doing?
Okay, I used to work for a corporate, and I was a sales leader. I mean, sales is my forte. I've been a regional sales director, managing director, etc., etc. But those are all titles. At the end of the day, it's how you treat people as a leader that's most important. Leadership is about putting people first. It's not about leading with an agenda. So once you do that, then all decisions that you make get skewed because everything is me. But when you put the people first, it's about them. And so I started off in sales, been doing it for more than 30 years. And then when I decided to do something on my own in the year 2015, I came out. But in corporate, I was also a part-time sales trainer. And so I had the opportunity to train many different businesses. And I felt that when I did that, I was in my strength zone. I was in my sweet spot. And I really enjoyed the training, the passing on of information, and seeing people transform. And so that's what I did when I came out after my corporate life. I came out in 2015 and I started my own company and looking at how can I add value to people, especially the young leaders, up and coming, who may not have the opportunity to learn the correct skills of leadership. And they just get promoted, but still with a manager mindset. That it is about process, it's about deadlines, it's about doing things the right way. It's not about that. Leadership is about people. And so I want to impart that. And I also want to impart my sales skills to young sales professionals, teach them how to sell things the right way. Right? It's not all about giving discounts. It's about adding value. What value do you bring to your customers? And that's how you do it. All right? It's about listening, it's about questioning, etc. So that's the area. And now with this D.I.S.C, my leadership focus has shifted from corporate to families. And I think the payoff is even better in the families, not so much the monetary, but the satisfaction in seeing families thrive, because we are the nucleus of society. We form the base, the foundation. If the foundation is not strong and a crisis comes, everything crumbles. But when you have a strong base, whatever crisis comes, you'll be able to weather that crisis. And the whole nation, the whole good of humanity will thrive. And I think that's where my focus is now, right, on families. I will still do the corporate side, but the family side is something that passionate, that I want to see that happen before I no longer here.
Okay, I suppose you also have answered this question, right?
Yeah.
How does your work contribute to the people around you? And you? All right, good. So, so maybe just to hear you again. So how are you adapting during this pandemic?
Yeah. So when the pandemic first hit, early part of the year, obviously there was a lot of uncertainties and there was a lot of fear, concern. Income got dwindled to almost zero. I had a choice of doing two things. One, ask myself, when is this pandemic going to end? And just sit there and moan and groan. Why does this happen? You know. But being the leader that I am, and with John Maxwell's team, John took a decision. He too had big losses in terms of income. He's not going to be able to go and speak worldwide. Nobody's wanted him to speak. We were supposed to go back in March for our International Maxwell Convention. Everything was cancelled. there was totally no income for him. But what he did was he pivoted and he said, let's go online. Let's teach online. Let's teach people about leadership in crisis. And so he did that. And then he gave us an opportunity to also teach that. And then I decided, why don't I help people get unstuck? By using this material from John, leading through crisis, and invite people to come and learn and share. And so hopefully they will be able to get out of it. And that's what I did. So I started using John's material and started masterminds, small mastermind groups of 15, etc. And today I've done 10. So it's about 150 people have gone through my mastermind. And a lot of them found it really enriching because they learn from each other. They form bonds of friendship, even business collaboration. And all because of this little small thing that I did. And because of me doing it, my mind is taken off from the pandemic. It's about how can I help more people versus why am I stuck? You see the difference? It's a mind shift of looking at it positively, what can I do, versus negatively, why me? And also thinking about what can I do during this pandemic to improve myself and be ready when the pandemic is over.
So we just want to take this question to Anna.
Sure.
Our discussion.
Yep.
Before we go into the Q&A.
Sure,
right?
sure.
So then what is your life wisdom?
There's this African proverb that says, if you want to travel fast, go alone. But if you want to travel far, go together. So it's simple. Connect with people, work with people, look at how you can help, how you can add value. So what goes around comes around. The positivity you sow, the positivity will come back to you. That's my wisdom in life. Keep helping people.
Thank you. Thank you, Andrew Soong. All right, thank you very much. Okay, so in that case, now we can move to our Q&A session.
Sure.
All right, and see any of our Zoom viewers. They got any question for you?
Yep.
All right. If they have no question for you, then I'll give you question.
Oh yeah. All right, no problem.
Okay, so let's see. Any one of you have any question that you can ask Andrew? All right. So let's see.
Sure.
All right. Okay, so we may need to manage a little bit.
Yes, no
now,
problem.
if you want to ask question, maybe you can put up your hands so that we can unmute you. So that's one way. All right. If you do not want to be seen, that is fine. We can just hear from you. All right. But maybe just to ask you, right?
Yes.
Like generally, if you are helping a family, how long it will take?
Well, if the family wants to do the report, do the assessment, so it's very quick. They just let us know. We will send the key code to them so that they can do the assessment online. Once the assessment is completed, they hit submit. The very next day, or in fact maybe an hour later, the report will come to me. Once the report comes to me, then I will arrange a time to do on Zoom with them to debrief. And for a family of maybe 4, max 2 hours. Because I said we'll start with the parents first. And if the parents have done it, obviously we take a little bit more time because we have to debrief the parents and then the child.
So basically the whole family will Zoom with you?
Yes, we depends. If the children are not available, then we'll do with the parents first. Then another day, we'll bring the children in. So I'm flexible, depending on their time, not so much my time.
I see, I see. And usually like you need to take how long or how many Zoom sessions before there's any kind of results?
Oh, so it's not the results, it's me briefing them their results. But then the process starts after they know the results, that they have to intentionally start taking action. Okay, so my debrief, if let's say 2 adults wanting to do it, plus the child, let's say two children, so 4 all in all, so maybe about 2-3 hours max, if everybody's available at one go. So we come in to do the parents first, the child can still do his homework or whatever. Then when the parents are done, then we bring the child in for maybe about 10-15 minutes. and then that's it. So the bulk of it is with the parents, helping them to understand how their kids are wired and what they can do to help bridge that communication gap.
So in your sessions,
Yes.
you'll do brainstorm, or what the parents can do or
Yes.
cannot do.
In the report, there are suggestive things. They help identify a D parent with the I child or a C parent with the I child. So from there, we can help them understand, okay, this is how your child would react in certain situations. This is how they would be fearful, etc., etc. These are the areas that you can help them work on to improve. This is their natural self. So then it helps that from there.
So then just wonder, after briefing them,
Yeah.
then is there a follow-up kind of session? How does it work?
Well, typically, if the parents want it, we can come back and play maybe 3 months' time, a month's time, and see what has changed. And then help them if they have any issues, then they can always, I'm available. They can always text me, email me, or Zoom. You can always go through what they have tried. Successful, not successful, why, those kind of things. Yeah. So I'm available.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yep.
Okay, so just to check with
Yep.
anyone got any questions?
Yep.
Okay, there's one actually.
Yep.
From Zenith.
Okay.
All right. Seems like parents and child have different personality will encounter more challenges. Does that mean that if parents and child having same personality will have less problem?
Yes and no. Because imagine if a father's a D, the son's a D, they are both rock to rock. So the father may have to tone down a little, so to allow the child to thrive. Because if he comes strong as a D, then that's not going to help. Because everyone has their blind sides, right? Their blind spots. So doesn't mean that you're both of the same, it will work. If the mother is an I, the son is an I, both like to talk. They'll keep talking and nothing's done. So again, they need to set certain boundaries for the child. Yeah.
Now this is a very interesting question.
Yes.
Then does it mean that having two person with different personality
Yes.
coming together,
Yep.
is it a bad thing?
No.
In fact, if they have different personality and coming together,
Yep.
they might be complementary to each
Yes.
other,
Correct. Correct.
right?
Yes.
And that explains why couples, they are different.
Exactly.
I mean, other than the gender,
yes.
right?
Couples can also be the same of personality.
Okay, but they need to be mindful.
They might need to be mindful. Now, the beauty about knowing your spouse or your partner's personality is that it makes you more forgiving. Because now you understand why he or she behaves and does what he or she does. It's not to irritate you, but it's just that's how he or she is wired. And so you will then be able to understand better and, okay, all right, accept it, versus, why are you doing that? Do you understand? I cannot stand what you're doing. But that's how he's wired, right?
In fact, the person that you used to love so much
Yes.
and crazy about,
Yeah.
and after you got married,
Yep.
he or she has not changed
Nope.
at all.
Yep.
But the interesting situation is that, you know, the other party may think that, wow, last time we used to be so matching for each other,
Yep.
but now we are worlds
Apart.
apart. You know, find this like very familiar, right?
Yes.
It's like repeated like I don't know how many times.
Yes, yes, yes.
But actually the fact is that both of you are still the same.
Exactly. Exactly the same. It's just that
Amazing.
the expectations may have changed. Expectations may have changed. When you're courting, everything is okay lah. You want to see this movie? Okay lah. But when you get married, no. I want to see the other one. So there's something, what, you know? So the expectations change. The personality is the same. Expectations change. And they pile on the expectations that if you're not meeting my expectations, something's wrong with you.
So that comes because the expectation also means that including him or her to change,
That's right. Yeah, they expect the other party to change.
right?
Yes.
And that's the reason why your expectation changes.
Correct.
All right. So I thought that is a good insight.
Yes.
In a sense that now you realize why it is this way.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
And then you know that it's not because he doesn't love me anymore.
Exactly.
It's not because she doesn't love me anymore.
Right.
Or his or her heart is with someone else, but simply because actually each other's expectation has changed.
Also, communication style. When you know each other, you know the way he or she likes to be communicated. All right. And also the way he or she doesn't like to be communicated. I give you an example. The S style doesn't like people to communicate with them on a very aggressive way. The more aggressive they are, the more withdrawn they will become. They like to go and drink coffee with you. Nice place, nice music, and and then we talk about it.
Drink coffee with me.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, okay. And that's the way they like to be communicated by. The D style likes confrontation. The more you confront me, I like it. I thrive on confrontation.
Serious?
Yes. The S doesn't like it. And the I fears rejection.
Now this is something that maybe we should have another session.
Yes.
All right, because today the focus is really about the parent and the child.
Yes.
We haven't really talked about the couple.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah.
So we were talking about
sure.
we're going to talk about dating and
how.
All
Yeah.
right, but we'll leave it to another round.
Sure.
Right. But I hope that Andrew has given you an insight based on questions.
Yes.
All right. Let's see what else we have. Will children adapt to one another if they are of different personality? How can parents help? So I think the question would be, firstly, is will children adapt to one another if they are of different personality?
Yep. Same like all relationships, the parent has to be the referee. Eh? So the parent has to help the child understand, okay, so you are D-wired, these are your likes, dislikes, this is how you like to be communicated, and helps the brother, sister also understand how this maybe the middle child or the elder child, and vice versa. So the parents have to help the children understand how each is wired. And that makes it easier to communicate. It's just like working in a corporate. You got team members.
So this will be helpful if firstly the parents
know
their own personality.
Correct.
And secondly, understand their children's personality.
Correct.
And then when the two children are having either a conflict or anything like that, then the parents will know how to mitigate.
Don't wait until then. The minute they finish doing the report, they should be then helping each child understand the other siblings' makeup and wired. And what are the areas of conflict, possible conflict, what are areas of fear, etc., etc. So the children already know my brother's like this, so that will help. Don't wait until a conflict happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We're coming to 10. We're at 10 p.m.
Okay.
But maybe what we can do is we'll take one last question.
Yes,
all right.
Sure.
Okay. Let's see. What do you see in terms of benefits for both of the parents and children after going through the D.I.S.C session? What do you see in terms of the benefits for both parents and children?
Okay. Harmony, less stress, healthier relationships, loving children, loving parents, everybody living in harmony, in peace. Children not being afraid of the parents because they don't feel threatened anymore. Parents stop the nagging, and things just run smoothly. As a result, happy family. Parents go to work happy, children go to school happy, they come home happy. That's what we want at the end of the day, isn't it? Peace in the family.
Yes. I thought that this is a nice way to end today's sessions. All right. So thanks for the questions.
Yep.
All right. And I thought that Andrew has ended nicely, positively, and I think it brings out the reason why we're having this conversation.
Yes, exactly.
Right? And we hope that whatever that Andrew has shared with all of us it can give you a better insight of what you can do in terms of improving your relationship with your children, or even how you can bring your family,
Yes.
all right, to the next level.
Exactly.
Right. Yes, good. So with that, I want to thank you, Andrew.
You're most welcome.
All right, for tonight. And he's very, very busy. In fact, he was telling me that, okay, Roland, every day I'm going to have this
mastermind, yes,
my game session, and
yes.
Because of this, then he had to make special arrangement. So it's really, really a privilege.
Thank you. Thanks.
For all of us to have him here.
Thank you.
All right. So with that, thank you again. And in fact, thank you for all of you who so willing to come and watch us, listen to us, our sharing. So I hope that with that, we can continue to advocate all of us to live life to the fullest. And so that with wisdom, we can improve our life together. Like what you say, if you want to go alone faster, you do it alone, all right?
Yes.
But if we want to
go further,
then we go together.
Yes.
All right. So I thought that that's a nice way to end today's session.
Yep.
So with that, Roland Ang here, your host for tonight, and I hope to see you all again. All right. So in any case, if you're interested to find out more about Andrew, all right, what we have here is actually a slide here where you have the QR code. And what you can do is that if you're interested, we can also send to you, email to you, request from us, whether you're from YouTube, Facebook, or Zoom. All right, we can send you this link, join us, and we can discuss more about it and how we can actually help you or support you and bring your life and family to the next level. So before we end today's session, I will take this opportunity to introduce our special guest. Now, not only one, but four. In fact, really thanks to Andrew for introducing D.I.S.C, these 4 different types of personality. And coincidentally, in our studio, we have these 4 guests with us too. In fact, they are firstly our Inspector D. Yeah, thanks for coming. And secondly, our Mr. I. Yeah, Mr. I, right? Good. And also we want to welcome our Guru S. Yeah. And finally, our Dr. C. That's right. Thank you. So they are here actually specially to share with us their personal insights. And in fact, we have learned from Andrew that different personality, they really have their own different view of things, matters, issues. And it will be great to really hear from them. How they feel, what they think, or what would they suggest, or how would they react. And I think from there, we can learn from them and how we can apply it to ourselves. So without further ado, let us welcome them. But the way that we're going to welcome them is to let them share their opinion or their view about a particular wisdom quote that we're going to share with you today. And once we have a chance to digest this wisdom quote, we will invite the 4 of them to share with us. And then from there, let's see what kind of insight we can gather from here. So with that, let us watch this wisdom quote that we prepared. So how important does character and personality play a part in our life? And according to this wisdom quote, it is a habit that we have cultivated for a long time. Now, I wonder how our 4 gentlemen here would feel or think about this particular wisdom quote. And we know there are a lot of things there's no right and wrong. So it'd be great to hear from them. So with that, let us welcome our Inspector D. All right, Inspector D, so share with us what you think about this quote. Character. Of course, this is something that I will totally agree with. Our character is because has to do with our habit. And for us, our habit will never change. This habit will be with us all the time. So have you heard before? A leopard will never change its spot. Yes. So I agree. Character is simply a habit long continue. So I can tell you, those who are bad, I guarantee you, no matter what they do, they'll always be bad. Those who are good, forever they'll be good. Yes, that's what they're made of. Well, so thank you, Inspector D. That very, very strong opinion about this particular wisdom quote that we have shared. Sure, all right. So with that, thank you, and let us hear our Mr. I. Over to you. Character is simply a habit long continue? No. I am free to do what I want. No. In fact, I'll be inspired to do things differently. I can't be doing the same thing all the time. No way. So I'm not a habitual creature. Yeah. I feel like what I want to do today, I will do today. Tomorrow, if I'm inspired differently, I will do a different thing. Yeah, there's no such thing as habitual or habit. And my character, who I am, this is who I am. Yes. This is my character. That is quite refreshing and interesting. Definitely not following the convention. But really, thank you very much for sharing. So with this, let us invite our Guru S. Yes, Guru S. So, wow, Guru, so must be something going to be very insightful from you. So, share your thoughts with us. Take many, many years to cultivate. And this has to do with your perseverance, with your self-determination, and the way that you're going to have self-discipline, the way that you're going to cultivate that self-control, the way that you go in to cultivate your habits. Some good habits are not easy. So you will require many years of what we call 修炼. And this take years of training, meditation, and practice. But eventually, this one can be a habit so that you can live your life the way you want. However, this one requires lots of wisdom, lots of patience, and lots of support. And so that this make into who you are. And that is your character. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I hope that this can be some kind of refreshing or wisdom-filled kind of sharing, and that can be kind of takeaway. But last but not least, so let us welcome our Dr. C. Right, over to you, Dr. C. Character is simply a habit long continue. Wow, this is a very, very deep word. Now, character is from the psychological point of view, from psychology. Now, character actually made out of many, many dimensions. Character can be made out based on your personality, it can based on your temperament, it can based on your medical history, it can be based on the way that you have been brought up, the way that you have gone through in terms of the parenting style from your parents, and the experience you have gone through, the trauma that you have gone through, and the whole learning and training experience that were actually made out of your character. Not me, not me, not me, not me, not me, not me. And this character, it actually has already started forming right when you are a little fetus, right in your mother's womb, right into your DNA. And all this made out eventually into your character when you grow up. Character is simply a habit long continue. Well, in some way it's true because it already starts right from birth, going through years and years of nurturing, and some of them are innate, some are nurtured. And then from there, it made it who you are. Dr. C, wow, that is really informative and very detailed. And I'm sure all of us has really gained a lot from all your information that you are giving us today. And definitely, I believe you would also have gained some insight what personalities are all about. And definitely our four gentlemen here has given us a good snapshot of what Andrew was talking about. And indeed, which personality do you belong to? Which traits that you often exhibit? And how does that really affect your life? Now that's something that we want to explore further. And we hope that for the many episodes that we're going to produce, laid out and show and present to you, it's something that you can continue to explore so that as we go along, you have a deeper understanding, not just about ourselves, but with the people around us. And after we understand about the differences between people, we will be in a better position to communicate. We will be in a better position to collaborate, work together, cooperate, and maybe even to come together and do greater things when we know that we can't do it alone. And with that, we really need to understand what this is all about. And we also believe that D.I.S.C is not just the only tool for us to understand about human being and the interaction between us. In fact, we hope that as we go along in our 100 Live Life the Fullest ideas, we will want to share with you more and more information, knowledge, skill, tools, and maybe even system, or maybe even methodology, that how we can continue to have a deeper understanding of ourselves and the people around us, so that we all of us can come together and strive to live life to the fullest. So with that, Roland Ang here and Andrew here, we are signing off, and thank you again.
Thank you.
So
bye-bye.
Have a good rest of the week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Live Life to the Fullest.tv, a big learning community. Uncle Roland and his friend, ready to listen and be your friend. Yeah, live life, yeah, to the fullest. Yeah, live life, yeah, to the fullest. Big potential is what you have. The situation will drive you mad. If disappointed or anxious, lost or confused and aimless, we will help you to take action. Work together with one mission. Live life to the fullest together. Live life to the fullest forever. Yeah, live life. Yeah, to the fullest. Yeah, live life. Yeah, to the fullest. Yeah, to together, yeah, yeah, forever, yeah, yeah, together, yeah, yeah, forever. Live life to the fullest. Live life to the fullest. Oh, 香啊. Hey, maybe you can do a better job. Alright, hear from you.